Welcome back to another episode of JailBreak Overlander. I'm Richie, and this is JailBreak. What you're looking at right now is the first video in a three-part series that I promised, Surviving Outside in the Wilderness. Well, this is part 2, and this is going to rely heavily on part 1, Surviving in an Urban Environment. I'm going to try to walk you through this as best I can. When I say this relies heavily on the first video, everything in the wilderness survival video applies to the urban video. Except in an urban environment, your ultimate goal is to make your way to a wooded area. And I'm also going to imagine that you've already got an EDC bag like the one that I'm showing here. If not, I'll leave links in the comment section so you can check it out and assemble your own. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce you to another list. This list is things you can keep on your person, in your pocket. Safety pins, fire plugs, water container, ranger bands, etc., etc. Pause the video now and make a list of these things, assemble them, and keep them in a small pouch on your person. We'll go over this list more in depth later in the video. But for now, check this out. Even though I'm in southern Missouri, it's cold. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Richie from JailBreak Overlander, and I am here in Moab, Utah. 5:30 in the morning. It is freezing here in Kentucky. It is freezing this morning. So for all of you that have followed my channel for any length of time or any of my YouTube channels, I've always been into survival, hiking, camping, etc. The last video I did was on surviving strictly in the wilderness, and that video is still going to apply. Because in an urban setting, your goal is to make it to a wooded area, no matter what, as stealthily and as unseen as humanly possible. Urban environments are going to have urban people. In a world without rule of law or a shit hits the fan scenario, it's going to be no holds barred. So I'm going to try to show you some methods of staying alive and making it to your ultimate goal, which will be the safety of the woods, or a forest, or a reservoir. You see what I'm saying? It's good that you're watching this video now. It means you're trying to learn. But here's the deal. Learning after the crisis strikes is too late. So now you're ahead of the game. No matter where you live, learn about your area, where you'll find yourself if shit does indeed hit the fan. Find out where ponds, lakes, waterways, small wooded areas, national forests, bird reservoirs. Find out where any of these things are, and then make it your business to find a way there as quickly and quietly as possible. And remember, you won't be the only one that's there when shit does hit the fan. So be prepared and have a plan B. I'm going to give you some tips on how to move through the urban environment as stealthily as possible, being a gray man, as it were. Wearing nondescript clothing like I am. If you'll notice, I'm wearing a neutral green color top to bottom. Nothing fancy. You don't want to attract the attention of anyone else if at all possible. You want clothing that'll protect you and help you. Cargo pants, etc. I've already covered that in part 1. You don't want to stand out whatsoever at all. In an urban environment, one of the main things that the urban environment offers are bridges, and lots of them. This is a bridge going from Lynn, Massachusetts into Revere, and it offers lots of places to hide yourself for the evening or during the day. But bear in mind, homeless people and other people have been doing this for years. It turns out that in a shit hits the fan type scenario, homeless people are going to find themselves with the upper hand. A bridge can offer you concealment, and it can also offer you shelter from the weather. But be smart and sleep during the day and move at night. There's a reason the police do raids in the middle of the night. There's a reason the military do their high-value maneuvers in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, you can move with the least amount of people around. And when you do move, you want to move on the periphery of everyone. Go to the outskirts of town and try to move slowly and patiently. You don't want confrontations if at all humanly possible. Nothing good can come from that. When you do find yourself moving through a densely packed urban area, stick to alleyways. Stick to the outskirts of town. When you're walking through these alleyways, when you pass dumpsters, things like that, always pay attention. Keep your head on a swivel. But also, when you walk by things like dumpsters, etc., see if there's anything that you can use, anything of value, something you can put water in, something you can use as a weapon perhaps, something you can use to cut string, cordage, etc., anything. You're now in straight up vulture mode. As you're walking, suck everything in, be aware. If it works for you, take it. If it doesn't, keep moving. But always keep your head on a swivel. And this will help you make it to your destination, which again will be a wooded area, someplace where people aren't. Something just about every urban area or city has are train tracks. In a shit hits the fan scenario, train tracks can be your friend. Find your train tracks and they will help you get to the outskirts of town quicker than any other way. The only issue is you won't be the only one thinking of this, so be prepared. If you see people, simply hide out of sight. Patience will be a virtue on this, big time. The time to learn how to use a compass is now, because on a train track, a compass and a set of train tracks can pretty much take you any place you want to go, to another city, to another town, to an entire other state. That's what train tracks are made for. But again, chances are you will run into other people. If you're unsure of them, simply hide. Hide yourself and wait. Wait them out and try to move strictly at nighttime. You're on train tracks. Every time you cross a bridge, be very careful as there's large openings. You don't want to get hurt while you're trying to find your way to a wooded area and shit hits the fan. That would suck. Another great means of transportation is something that I actually have. It's a Montague mountain bike. This bike folds in half and can carry a 250-pound man, no problem. I've used one of these for years, and it allows you to move around the urban environment completely silently. It can be stashed away, etc., etc. Too many people think a bug-out vehicle is a motorized vehicle that's going to make it, but think about this. How bad is traffic during rush hour? How bad is traffic on a holiday? And shit hits the fan, a mountain bike may be your only course of action. Or you could try this. Many cities and towns have waterways dug into them, overflow drainage ditches, or ponds, lakes, reservoirs. Become familiar with these things. Can you use them to your advantage? Bugging out means preparing. Bugging out means studying the environment that you live in now that you will find yourself in if you do indeed have to bug out. Find out where ponds, lakes, reservoirs, because not only do these give you the opportunity to use them for transportation, but they'll also be a vital source for water, which is another reason you'll want to make sure you have a water filter. I recommend the Sawyer water filter. And the Sawyer water filter is something that should be in your EDC bag. Do you see the importance of an escape and evade or an everyday carry bag now? Also, if you live near water, stashing a canoe or a kayak in a secret location could save your life. Now, if you do live in an urban environment and you find yourself looking for gasoline, This only applies if all society has broken down. The airport can be your best place. People in shit hits the fan are in another country and their cars are parked there, and that may be the last place you can find gasoline. Learn how to use a siphon. They're very simple, they aren't glamorous, but they do work. I'm not advocating breaking any laws, but in a world without a rule of law, it's an option. So I've shown you ways to move through the city, trying to find your way to that woodland oasis away from the urban environment. The urban environment is going to be dangerous, freaking out, nervous, scared people. You want to move on the outskirts of town. You want to blend in, be a gray man. If you see what appears to be danger, hide yourself, be patient, or defend yourself, one or the other. Every place you go, pay attention to everything. Anything on the ground in this particular situation you find yourself in can now be a resource. Empty bottle, string, a piece of metal, anything. Over the last 10 years, I've made numerous videos on how to make an EDC, like the bag shown here, a bug-out bag, an inch bag, an escape and evade bag, and even what you can carry on your person. This stuff, to me, is incredibly important because there's always going to be an emergency. Emergencies don't take holidays. Being prepared puts you so far ahead of the game, it's unbelievable. Don't just watch this video. There's lots of really good urban survival videos. Learning as much as you can is much better than sitting in front of a television just wasting time. We live in a very volatile day and age, and being prepared is something that every adult should be doing, in my opinion. Too many people rely on the grocery store, the gas station, everyday life, modern conveniences. But ask people in Australia, people in California, people down by the flooded areas. Emergencies happen. Planning out your escape route, doing recon, finding places, stashing stuff, it gets you outdoors. It makes you a better person. It connects you with nature. And when a calamity does occur, you're prepared. Do you know how good that feels? Everyone should be doing this. When I was a kid, the government used to tell people to do this. Now, we're considered quote-unquote preppers, and that's a sad thing. I'd much rather be prepared than rely on some governmental agency to come save me. Again, pause the video, take this list, and assemble it yourself. These are all very easy to find items. As far as everything else that I've shown in the video, the folding mountain bike, everything you need to build an EDC or a bug-out bag, you can find all of those right here. I've made lists that cover everything from bug-out bags to things you can keep in your car to books that you can read that can teach you how to use a compass, etc. Links are under every video. It comes directly from Amazon and it ships really, really fast. Start big or start small, but at least get started. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button and leave a comment below. Part 3 is coming.